I'm trying to tell y'all, God has never made a mistake. He's never made one mistake. All right? So it ain't about one play. It ain't about nothing. This year, we did what we were supposed to do. We fought as a team. We fought as a team. There will be one Super.
The time is now. On everything. Took my heart away from money. I ain't interested in fame. And I pray that never change. Ambition is priceless. It's something that's in your veins. And I put that on my name. Only hope I.
This is the Dave Muller Show. Softy. Now, back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen,
he used to walk around the office calling everyone buddy because he couldn't remember their names.
Dave Softy Muller.
All right, 12:37. It's no rumor, baby. Mark Mclaughlin is going to be a Husky. Some of you may remember him from Inglemoor High School. Others may remember watching him play basketball this last year for Tacoma Community College, but we can stop with the Huskies don't have any verbal commit thing yet, because they do have a verbal commit. I think he can sign on April the 10th from what I've heard. But Mark Mclaughlin is the first member of the 2012-2013 Husky basketball class, and his head coach, Carl Howell from TCC, is on the air with us right now. Coach, how are you, man?
Great, great.
Hey, I appreciate you doing this. Tell us about Mark. For people that don't know a lot about him, which I don't know a lot about him, I just talked to guys around the station that have watched him play. What kind of player is he? What kind of person is he? Let's talk about the player and the person of Mark Mclaughlin.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, I think the best comparison is that of Trey Simmons. I was coaching here at TCC when Trey played at Green River before I went to Eastern, and although him and Mark are different, I would say Trey's a more pure shooter from the three-point line, and I would say Mark's a much better passer and scorer off the dribble.
Right.
They're very similar. I would expect Mark to have that kind of impact with the Huskies.
So is he more of a slasher then to the bucket, or is he a guy that likes to maybe camp out as well from the perimeter?
No, he shot about 40 from the three-line. He's a good shooter. From the three line, but he's the best I've seen at this level with a dribble pull-up. And, believe it or not, he's got a little point in him. I mean, he can really pass and handle the ball.
Well, he's 6'6", is that right?
Yeah, he's 6'6", yep.
Okay, about 200 pounds?
Yes.
Does he have to put some weight on, you think, to play at this level?
I mean, probably. I think 210 might be an ideal thing. He's wiry, strong, and he's very competitive, so... Right. But yeah, I mean, you can always be stronger, sure.
Well, I think the one angle on this story, we're talking to Carl Howell, who's the head coach at Tacoma Community College. Been coaching Mark Mclaughlin for the last year, and averaged 28.4 per game, which led the nation at junior college basketball. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about a guy that can fill it up without question. But his story, though, is very unique. On how he got to you and how he got to Washington. And if I'm missing anything here, just fill in the blanks for me, Coach.
Okay.
He starts off at Inglemoor, then he goes to New Hampshire, or a prep school in New Hampshire. Is that right?
New Hampton Prep, yeah.
Right, and then he commits to Wazoo, and then commits to Nevada, ends up at Baylor, commits to Baylor, ends up at Seattle U, and then goes to Tacoma, and now is at Washington.
Right.
I mean,
I'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah, please.
I'll fill in the blanks. He was at Inglemoor, and I believe he actually committed to Washington State and Nevada when he was at Inglemoor before he went to New Hampton Prep, but I'm not sure.
Got it.
But I'll tell you this, and people have to understand with those two decommitments, both Washington State and Nevada had made coaching changes.
Got it. Yep.
So, hey, if I was a kid and I signed to play for a certain coach and they made a coaching change, I think every kid has a right to make a change. With the Baylor thing, you know what? He went down there. The Baylor guys have nothing but great things to say about Mark. And, he had a young son. And, you know what? He did the right thing. He's never turned his back on his child. We've had him at school a lot at TCC. He came back to be closer with his son. And, was at Seattle U last year or 2 years ago, and for whatever reason, wasn't as great of experience as everybody maybe thought. But you know what? People mature at different levels, and
Right.
I'll tell you this: I think he had as great a year as anyone that's ever played in our conference, and he is a joy to be around. I mean, my kids love him. My wife loves him. I mean, I don't care what anyone has said about Mark in the past. I'll go into war with him anytime.
Well,
I mean, he's a good kid.
So I mean, look. So the idea that he's wishy-washy and he's kind of a head case and all that stuff because of all the different stops he's made, you're saying that's totally unfair.
Yeah, that's totally unfair. And I'll tell you what. You know, I'm not the easiest guy to play for all the time. I'll get into our guys,
Yeah.
so it's not like it was a walk in the park here. And he did everything we asked. And I'll tell you what, Softy, the thing that I've always thought is a good character trait is going into this season. I didn't think this was one of our best 2 or 3 teams we've had at TCC. I thought we'd be good, but he basically put us on his back and went through and won an NWAACC championship, and not only led the nation in scoring, but led us in assists. And there's something to be said for winning a championship at any level.
Yep.
And if you're a wishy-washy guy, I don't think you're winning a championship and taking a team to the promised land.
How's the talent level in that league you played for? Because I think people see 28 points and they see, oh, God, he's going to come to UW and be an All-American. Well, obviously there's a talent level disparity.
Yeah, I think Trey Simmons averaged 25 or 26, and I think he averaged in the mid-teens at Washington. I would expect a similar result. I'll tell you what, this year we had some good players. There's a J.T. Terrell, who at the beginning of the year was the number 1 ranked junior college player in the country at the time, a transfer from Wake Forest who signed at USC. I think Mark has probably surpassed him in that by now. But he was in our league. There was another gentleman from Los Angeles that played in the NWAACC at Peninsula College. It's a Pac-12 player that's a little bit older. There's probably 8 to 10 guys in our conference this year out of the 35 schools that were legitimate